As you can see, they still had the same increase in. Hey guys, what's going on? Megan here. Alright, let's take a look at this interesting study comparing the effects of two groups. The first group did 4 sets of 5 reps at an RPE of 10, so they pretty much took every set to failure. 3-minute rest in between each set, by the way. The second group did 4 sets of about 24 reps on average. Again, RPE of 10. Don't worry about the third group. I'll mention them later on. They're pretty much insignificant because they stayed so far away from failure. But long story short, the researchers wanted to see which protocol will result in the highest increase in myofibrillar protein synthesis. Long story short, the rate of muscle growth for actual contractile tissue. They obviously look at sarcoplasmic protein synthesis and a bunch of other stuff, but obviously for the purpose of this video, we're going to focus on myofibrillar protein synthesis, right? Because that's what we're really after. And if you've been watching my videos for the last 10 years, you should already have an idea what the outcome was. Keep in mind, all guys were trained, and also keep in mind that the study was replicated many times. You guys know I don't just pick random studies. I always pick studies that were replicated over and over again, so that we don't have to worry about design issues and things like that. But as you can imagine, there goes the rate of muscle growth 4 hours later and 24 hours later. As you can see here, the white bar, that's the group that did 4 sets of 5. So really heavy, right? 90% of their 1 rep max. And as you can see, 4 hours post-workout, they had the standard increase in myofibrillar protein synthesis, right? Which is usually a 200% increase. This group in the middle, don't worry about it. That's the group that matched the volume, right? They matched the work of this group, but they did not go to failure, right? So they did 4 sets of like 14 reps on average, which is literally RPE of 0. And as you can see, they barely had any increase in myofibrillar protein synthesis. Now let's look at the group who did 4 sets of about 24 reps on average. As you can see, even with 30% of their 1 rep max, which is very low, by the way. I don't recommend training in that rep range all the time, right? You should always periodize your training. But anyway, as you can see, similar increases in myofibrillar protein synthesis. And like I said earlier, this study has been replicated so many times. They looked at protein synthesis. Other studies looked at actual muscle growth at the end of the 8-week studies, and all the findings are the same. It doesn't matter which rep range you use, as long as it's close to failure, and of course as long as you're not going too light, right? If you're going too light, like below 30% of your 1 rep max, then again you might have to use blood flow restriction so that your fast twitch and high threshold motor units get activated. But for the most part, as long as you're lifting above 30% of your 1 rep max, right, so about 30 reps to failure or less, you're gonna build the same amount of muscle as a group who's doing 5 reps to failure, right? So significantly less weight, which obviously reduces the risk of injury. It ensures that you're going to get a great pump, you're going to have good form, right? And even though that's obviously going to increase fatigue more than this group, guess what? Less injuries, and over time you will adapt to the increase of fatigue anyway, right? So this is why I've always been in love with high reps, right? Keep in mind, I periodize all my programs. You're going to be doing high reps and low reps, right? And obviously in the middle, right? I don't believe in just sticking to just one style of training your whole life, right? That's why HSP training is heavy stretch pump, right? One day you're going to be doing heavy lifts, so that's going to be this group here, right? One day you're going to be doing weighted stretch, and another day you're going to be doing pretty much what this group was doing, right? Which is high rep training. But as you can see, equal increases in myofibrillar protein synthesis. And once again, this is myofibrillar protein synthesis, not sarcoplasmic protein synthesis, which is still important. But again, for the sake of this video, we're focusing on this. And here's an interesting thing. Even 24 hours post-workout, once again, if you guys watch my videos a lot, you already know this, right? Protein synthesis is right back to baseline, right? You notice how there's no star up here? It means it's no longer statistically significant, right? And every study under the sun comes to the same findings. Keep in mind, these men were trained. And as I say over and over again, if you're a trained person, you've been training for, more than a few months or more than a few years, protein synthesis goes back to baseline within a day. So get all this bro split bullshit out of my face. You're missing so many windows to maximize muscle growth if you only train once or even just twice a week. Now, if you enjoy it and if you don't mind building muscle at a slower rate, then that's fine. You could do bro splits, right? I'd rather have you guys in the gym than not training at all, right? That's why in my ebook, I have bro splits, I have push-pull, I have upper-lower, I have every split you could think about, because at the end of the day, the most important thing is consistency and sticking to your program, right? But for those who want to build muscle as fast as possible and don't want to leave any stones unturned, now you see once again why I recommend higher frequency. But anyway, here's another interesting here. As you can see, 24 hours post-workout, the high rep group still had an increase in myofibrillary protein synthesis, whereas the other groups were back to baseline. Now, to be fair, it could be due to the fact that they probably had higher muscle damage since they were probably not accustomed to that form of training. But there are also studies showing high rep training showing less muscle damage than low rep training. So again, this is up for grabs. But long story short, conclusion: 2 groups of people, 4 sets. It was actually 3 groups of people, but once again, ignore the third group because they were just wasting their fucking time. 4 sets of 5 to failure versus 4 sets of about 24 to failure. Keep in mind it's 24 on average, right? So on the first set, I probably did slightly more than 24 reps. Second set, less. They rested 3 minutes between sets, which is more than enough time. In case you were thinking, well, maybe it's because they didn't rest enough. Nah, they rested enough. And as you can see, they still had the same increase in myofibrillary protein synthesis, despite the huge difference in load, right? Don't be afraid of high rep sets. Yes, they're going to burn more. Yes, they're going to be a bit more fatiguing. But like I said, your body's going to adapt to it. And also, you're less likely to get injured on high rep sets anyway. So as long as you periodize your training, you're mixing some heavy sets here and there and some high rep sets here and there, like on HSP training, you'll be fine. All right, guys. Hope this video helps. See you on the Reddit. Alright guys, don't forget to like or share the video, subscribe and hit the bell, and buy my HSP Nucleus Overload Training Program. It's the ultimate program for maximum muscle growth. It includes full body workout splits, bro splits, push-pull, home workouts, you name it. Also comes with a complete guide for macros, nutrition, fat loss, muscle growth, hormones, including a meal plan. It's pretty much all my 16 years of experience condensed into one fucking book. You're also going to get free copies of any future edition. So visit team3dalpha.com and you can use the 40% off coupon code Nucleus Overload. Or you could just buy the shit at full price. Alright guys, I'm out of here.